Tiare and Kaylin are both beautiful, smart, and accomplished young women. Tiare Riggins is a PhD student in biomedical engineering at Purdue University. Kaylin Simonson studied biology at UCLA. They are both pageant winners and excellent students. But they are also members of a college club no one wants to join.
I'm a survivor of campus sexual assault.
The latest studies show 20% of women are sexually assaulted while attending college. The largest majority are freshman women, raped within the first 3 months they are on campus. The problem is even identified as a red zone, a dangerous time between the start of fall classes and Thanksgiving break.
We're seeing many more what we call DFSAs, drug-facilitated sexual assaults. There are a lot of predators out there, and those predators know that by drugging someone and reducing or eliminating their ability to resist, they have an easier time of it.
Tiare Riggins found herself overpowered by someone she had known for years, a fellow engineering student, and someone she thought was her friend.
I thought that he was a good person. We decided that we would watch a movie together, but then he got really aggressive, and I kept pushing him off. I kept saying, please don't touch me, or please don't do that to me.
But this friend wouldn't take no for an answer.
It was like all happening, and then he was on top of me, and I couldn't really grasp it. And I was just sitting there staring at the ceiling because I was thinking, is this really happening? And I remember being in pain, and I remember like when he was done, he had like cleaned me off.
She says at first she was in shock. Then she went into denial.
Once things like that happen to you and it's someone you know, like you know you're selling it, there's a guilt behind it, and you feel guilty and you feel responsible, and you think that this person would never do that to me.
So she took a shower, washed her clothes, and tried to scrub all the pain away.
I kind of became reclusive after everything happened to me. I became a little bit more introverted. I didn't really trust people. I had a lot of mood swings. I felt that I needed to go home a lot just to be away from people. It was very hard to deal with because I developed PTSD and had nightmares.
Almost a month later, after getting counseling, she was finally ready to report the assault.
I found that because I destroyed my evidence as a knee-jerk reaction, the university couldn't do anything, the police couldn't do anything. They told me because of lack of evidence, they would not prosecute.
Kaylin Simonson had an eerily similar experience. She was assaulted by someone she agreed to meet for a casual date.
One of the conditions of meeting up, I said, I don't really want to go back to your dorm, I don't feel comfortable, but I felt a little pressured into going.
So you get there, what happens?
Basically, right after going into the room, the assault starts happening, pretty much right off the bat.
What did you say to him during this attack?
Well, obviously the no was uttered probably over 50 times, and that's pretty much all that was really said. I was in disbelief, and of course I was scared, and I was thinking, what are all the things that I can do to get out of here? When someone is basically using force and some kind of fear in that way, your fight or flight response is really just to not get hurt and to try and get out as quickly as possible.
Kaylin says she immediately reported the rape to police. Her attacker was charged with sexual assault and later pleaded guilty to assault. He got 6 months in jail and was expelled from UCLA. After several other girls reported, he assaulted them too.
You feel so powerless over basically what your body is used for. And I felt like my pleas weren't heard, and that I was being completely ignored and essentially overpowered.
Still, Kaylin says she was embarrassed this had happened to her.
I felt a little ashamed at that point for what had happened, and I was essentially scared to tell my mom.
A fear that keeps many victims from ever reporting these brutal crimes, making it hard to track how many students have actually been victimized.
1 in 4, 1 in 5 college-aged women are sexually assaulted. And so it's a large number, larger than we even realize. And this may not happen to you, but it'll happen to someone you know.
Vice President Joe Biden recently spoke to students at Syracuse University about the It's On Us campaign to stop the violence.
This is a matter of, I think, national consequence for us. Sexual assault is unacceptable. No consent means no.
Celebrities like John Hamm, Zoe Zeldana, and Josh Hutcherson have also lent their voices to address the problem.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Experts say many colleges are just starting to put protocols in place to deal with these crimes.
We don't know as a society how to really prevent sexual violence. So before we point a finger at colleges and say, well, they're not great at it, I think there's only one other system we have that's kind of worse than colleges, and it's criminal prosecution of sex offenses.
One of the reasons is still the stigma associated with rape. Tiare admits she was hesitant to tell authorities she had been assaulted.
I just came here to do research, and I'm earning my PhD in a male-dominated field, so I don't want people to know about it and think, oh, she's the girl who cried rape.
But she turned her pain into a platform. She's speaking out as 2015's Miss Indiana United States. She also founded the Purdue campus organization Students Against Rape and Violence.
I get to use my crown and sash as an opportunity to help other survivors.
My crown.
Kaylin turned her tragedy into triumph too. She competed in the 2015 Miss California pageant and now speaks to high school and college students about respect and empowerment.
I was very unhappy, and when I was suffering, when I was scared to go outside, I really had a realization that I didn't want this to affect me for the rest of my life and that I needed to do something.
They are speaking out and working with professionals to help erase not only the stigma of rape, but to change the culture and help keep kids from growing into predators.
If you want to touch somebody else, you have to get permission for it, which is not an outrageous idea.
A simple idea these survivors want everyone to hear.
You know, Matt, it's so sad that these women even have to say that. And it's also disturbing because there are huge variations in policies on college campuses when it comes to sexual assault. And these women are trying to streamline that process to help prevent crimes like this in the future.
Well, it should really go without saying, shouldn't it, that something has to be done, and urgently too, particularly when you look at the harrowing scale of this problem. It is mind-blowing. Something in the order of a sexual assault on a college campus every 21 hours.
Unthinkable.
It is absolutely unthinkable. Thank you for the update there, Andrea. Hopefully it shocks people into doing something about this horrendous problem.